Hi everyone, Vincent here, and today we're diving into a whole new way of dating. One that's exciting, intentional, and deeply fulfilling. Our guest, Sarah Rose, is a renowned intimacy coach, founder of Elixir, and a leading voice in ecstatic dating. Featured in Men's Health, Business Insider, and more, she's here to show us how to transform our love lives. Sarah, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us. And we're going to start by discussing something which I touched upon in the intro, and that is ecstatic dating. What is ecstatic dating for people who might not be aware?
So ecstatic dating is when you get yourself in the right mindset to meet somebody amazing. So, in this whole era that we've been in, and, we're kind of transitioning out of the dating app era, but it's been such a predominant part of our dating life. And so often people will get on a dating app and they feel really negative about the experience. They're like, oh, well, I'm not even going to pay attention to any of this. I'm just going to swipe on every profile in front of me, or I'm really bored. I'm standing here waiting for the train to arrive. I live in New York City. It's like about a few minutes, so I'm just going to swipe. Or how many people actually swipe through dating apps when they're sitting on the toilet? Like how just low vibe can you get, really, like when you're talking about potentially meeting somebody that you might want to date, that you might eventually want to have a meaningful relationship with. And so ecstatic dating is really about getting into the right mindset and meeting people from just a more uplifted space.
That's amazing, and it's so interesting, and the way you described online dating, I mean, that is spot on. I've had a few stints of online dating in my past. I have a bit of a mixed thought pattern on them. The woman I'm with right now, the mother of my children, I met via online dating. So I can't fully hate on it. However, when I met her, it took me 3 years, so, let's get real of how difficult it is out there, and finding a better concept, something a bit more authentic, you could say, something such as this ecstatic dating. It sounds really, really exciting.
It is exciting, and it just feels better too. Like whenever we're in a more ecstatic state, what are ecstatic states? Like just states that feel good, that feel pleasurable. So pleasure is an ecstatic state. Just happiness is an ecstatic state. Being in bliss. So whatever it is that makes you feel really good. But through Elixir, we actually teach and coach our members through practices that help them be in these states of ecstasy. So they can do a breathwork practice, or they can do some visualization, and they get really excited about what it is that they're going to create with this experience of dating. And so before going on a date with somebody, getting themselves feeling really good and just happy, showing up from that place. And everybody wants to be around someone that's happy instead of somebody that's showing up like, okay, well, this is my 16th failed date. I'm sure this person's not going to like me, and they're just going to ghost me after. And coming into it with sort of that like just negative opinion about oneself, negative opinion about the dating process, negative opinion about this person who we haven't even met, even though it's tinged with some excitement of like, well, I hope, it's kind of like I secretly hope they actually like me, but I'm going to put on this front of, oh gosh, this is all just miserable because of self-protection mechanisms that we use. So this process of ecstatic dating is really designed to help people approach it from a place of positivity, but not not false positivity, like true, genuine, authentic love of oneself that then just flows out.
That is such a powerful concept that you've described. And if we compare it to online dating, I mean, I remember from my own experience, it felt like a job. It felt like I was literally working a job, trying to work the metrics within online dating. And some of my clients that I speak with have similar challenges. It's very, very tough. And I think what we are looking for is something which is happier, which is more fulfilling, which is more exciting. And I think this ecstatic dating could be just that. You touched upon Elixir there. I mean, would you at this stage like to explain to everybody listening what exactly Elixir is? Because it's fascinating.
So Elixir is the AI-powered love app prioritizing mental wellness. So we focus on all types of love. Our method, the Elixir method, starts with self-love. We also go through the journey of friendship love. And while it's not our intention for our relationships to always come out of our friendships, a lot of relationships, dating relationships, romantic relationships, do start with a friendship. And even if they don't, friendship relationships in itself are completely valuable. So we help people navigate those. So many people really struggle with making friends, having deep connected friendships. The dating relationships, so we support members through that as well. The dating process of, everything I just talked about with ecstatic dating. Also, long-term romantic relationships. You meet somebody and now you're in this long-term romantic relationship. How do you make it last? How do you make it feel really good? How do you keep the passion alive? We do a lot around intentional sexuality as well, and helping people have sex that feels meaningful, that feels connected and rewarding, where there's deep intimacy when people are having sex, and tying all of that together in a way of just making this real in our lives. So it's not just concepts, but it's actually walking the walk and living and breathing and having these experiences every day. But Elixir is also a community. So we've got amazing coaches on the Elixir platform who do group coaching, they do group workshops, they lead a book club. So I will interview leading authors about their books on these different topics, and then our coaches will lead book clubs on these books, so that way our members can really get engaged and understand how to have healthier relationships. And then we have community events as well. Coaches make video tutorials so people can just get on there and get lessons, watch these videos about dating, relationships, sexuality, friendships, and get support that way. And then we also have a chat bot that is trained in the Elixir method, so that way people can 24/7, anytime they're struggling, get onto Elixir, chat with the chat bot. You can imagine you've been on dates before, and sometimes you're on dates and you get triggered by something and you don't know, okay, how do I self-regulate in this moment? And how do I come out of the state that I'm in? I'm triggered. How do I know if this is a red flag versus, a trauma from my past that is just resurfacing? And so you could just quickly excuse yourself, run to the bathroom, get on the Elixir app, chat with Bliss, our AI coach, ask Bliss some questions, self-regulate there in the moment, and then be able to make a clear decision of, okay, do I continue with this date? Is this something I should exit now? Things like that.
That sounds amazing. It sounds everything within one app. I mean, if somebody wanted to download Elixir, I mean, where would they do that? How can somebody join this amazing app?
Yeah, so you can do this through the App Store or the Play Store.
So in essence, if you've got a phone, you can get Elixir. So, everybody basically on Earth at this point could get hold of Elixir. I mean, when you were just going through everything that it includes, it really does sound like it's everything under one roof. The old Toys R Us saying, if I remember right, it sounds incredible. And it goes hand in hand, obviously, with the ecstatic dating. I mean, why would you say ecstatic dating is helpful?
Ecstatic dating is helpful because it helps us feel good, and that's really why what our goal is here. Anybody who's going out dating, they're doing so because they want to feel good. They want to be with somebody that it feels good to be around them, that they're having fun with, that they're enjoying life with, that they feel connected to, that they feel cared for, that they feel safe with, and that they feel they really belong with this person. Okay, so ecstatic dating just helps us in that process of achieving what we want. Is that real intimacy. I mean, my background is as an intimacy coach, and what is intimacy? It's that interweaving of two people. And while relationships can take all forms, you don't necessarily have to just be in a relationship with one person. But even if you're in a relationship with multiple people, there is still the interweaving of two people that's happening in any relationship. And so that's what our focus is here, is like really helping with that deep connection that feels fulfilling.
It sounds so beautiful. And a lot of the listeners of today's podcast are likely going through a breakup, or maybe they went through a breakup in the past and they're still trying to get beyond that and look at new possible dating options. What would you say to people who maybe are struggling through breakup recovery and thinking about ecstatic dating?
It's ecstatic dating, and really even more broadly the Elixir method, it does help people through the breakup process as well, because I mentioned the whole method begins with self-love, and a real intentional self-love. A lot of people will say to us, well, I don't have self-love. Well, we will help you develop that. We will help you understand that. We'll help you really become grounded in that self-love. One example that I give is, because people, self-love can be this very abstract idea. Like, what even is this? How do I even feel that or achieve this? Okay, well, if you think about the way you love your cat or your dog in this unconditional way of your cat or dog doesn't have to do anything but exist, and you're just like, I love you. Apply that to yourself. And that's the easiest way to kind of bring that self-love inward. Easier said than done. I will give you that all day long. But we give our members the skills, the tools to be able to do that, and to begin to change the narrative that they have about themselves, that internal dialogue that unfortunately often is beating us down rather than lifting us up. And so with that process starting there, then it's, okay, I can make choices for my next relationship based on love for myself, based on what is most loving to me. And again, this comes back to that. I'm not going to show up for a date hoping the other person might like me. What about if I even like them? But often it's like, oh gosh, I just hope they like me. Oh, they paid some attention to me. There's like a breadcrumb of attention here. I'm going to latch on to that, and I'm going to think this is the love of my life. Well, no, let's develop worthiness. Let's develop deservingness about what we truly deserve and are worthy of having, what we deeply desire in relationships.
So for anybody who's listening and really interested in ecstatic dating, is there anything you could tell us now? I know that they need to go to the Elixir app to really delve into this, but is there anything you could tell us now, just to give us a little idea of how we can do it?
Absolutely. So with the process, like I said, it does start with that self-love, where you begin to take care of yourself in a loving way. You really begin to know what your worth is. And you let self-love be sort of your North Star in life. Does this truly feel loving to me? And then with ecstatic dating, it's about being clear about what you want. Like really, and not about what you want in dating, not about what you want in a relationship, but what do you want for your life? And when you are so clear on your vision for your life, then you can start to make every decision based on that. So anyone that you date, anyone that is a friend, anybody who, even a job or whatever it might be, you're measuring that up against your goals and your vision for your life. And does this align with me? Most of the time people will think, okay, well, I need to change my life to fit the relationship. But when we do that, relationships, people change. Relationships evolve and they change over time, right? But you've got to be committed to you and your vision and your life, and then finding the person or the people to be in relationship with that align with that. So you can imagine yourself like as this strong core pillar inside of you. You want that pillar to be straight and strong, and that's where you find your power and your ability just to move forward and to manifest the life that you want to have. But if you're like constantly bending towards something else, then it's just like, okay, these vines growing everywhere and you don't really know which way you're going, what direction. And it doesn't, most of the time it's not ultimately going to last because it's not really what you truly want. So really the core of it is be clear about what you want, stay true to yourself, be in a relationship with somebody who's aligned with that, and also release your past experiences. So we all have past experiences from previous relationships. Maybe they're dating relationships or romantic relationships. Maybe they're friendship relationships. But most of our patterns and habits from relationships come from our first 6 years of life. That's where we really develop the ability to be in relationship with somebody. So with our primary caregivers, maybe that was mom or dad, maybe you lived with your grandparents or step parents, whoever it was that you lived with, and they were very influential during the first 6 years of life. Those patterns and relationships are going to strongly influence who you're attracted to romantically. But what's important to realize here is that we have choice. Okay, so if you, for instance, had a relationship with your mom that didn't feel very good to you, there were things about it that were hurtful, that were triggering, and yet you find yourself attracted to people that repeat those patterns that you had with your mom. You can realize, okay, well, there were also other people. I also had a very strong relationship with my older sister. And my older sister, she was so accepting of me. She felt someone that it was safe for me to be with. I had a lot of fun with her. When you meet people, you can notice, okay, do I feel like I do or did when I was with my older sister, or do I feel like I do or did when I was with my mom? And you can notice that in your body and really begin to make that choice of, okay, there's probably nothing wrong with this person that I feel like my mom, but that's just not the right person for me. Whereas I'm going to choose to be with somebody that makes me feel safe and fun and cared for the way I did with my older sister. And you just start making conscious choices about who you're going to be in a relationship with. So you're choosing rather than being reactive.
That is so interesting. And it reminds me of a saying that I've heard, which is, show me the 7-year-old and I will show you the man. In essence, meaning by that point, we are who we are. And you were kind of touching on that about saying, I think you said the first 6 years is where we really, form our, relationship bonds, etc., attachment styles, likes, dislikes. You clearly have a very broad knowledge base, Sarah, on all things relationships. And you did touch on earlier, and I mentioned in the intro, about how you are an intimacy coach. Do you have many kind of strings to your bow in what you're doing right now? Are you just focusing on Elixir, or can people contact you for different services and support? What are you doing right now, Sarah, more broadly?
So I have two companies. I have Elixir, and then my other company is called CEO on Fire. And at CEO on Fire, myself and the coaches on my team work with CEOs of companies that are doing millions of dollars a year in revenue, and we're helping them develop an intimacy in their personal relationships, because for that demographic of people, they've typically worked incredibly hard to get to where they are, to have the success that they have, and it's been at the sacrifice of personal relationships most of the time. And so what can happen is they start to feel disconnected. Maybe they start to feel some depression. Maybe they're just, they lack the empathy that is needed to have a successful relationship. They're unable, they haven't developed presence to really, be there one-on-one, connect, and make the person that they're in a relationship with feel seen and valued and heard. And so our coaches work with them, and that's in a one-on-one coaching environment to develop those skills to be successful in relationships.
Wow. Again, so much to unpack there, so much value. Are people able to speak with yourself, or are you kind of head of a set of coaches? Is there a way, if anybody's listening to this and really wants to speak with you, are you available to coach, or not at the moment?
I do take some coaching clients on. Most of my clients have been with me, for the last several years, though, and so I don't have a lot of availability to take on new clients, but on occasion I do.
That's brilliant. And even if they can't speak with yourself, obviously your team of coaches, they're going to be following your principles, and anything that we've heard today, it's going to be what they are fully immersed in. So it's really, really exciting. And I think just as a whole, what I've picked up on this, Sarah, is you are so positive. And that is really, really important. I'm often speaking to people who are feeling really, really low in their lives, and getting that positivity flowing is crucial. And I'm really feeling that vibe from you, which is what I think makes what you're doing so special and so unique, is that it is really focusing on the positivity, even though there can be negatives surrounding us. Do you have any advice for people who are really going through a difficult time, even if it's not that they want to date right now? Do you have almost some positivity advice, if that is something to say? Just something that you would suggest could help people if they're feeling really kind of stuck in their life right now?
Yeah, and just take care of yourself. Have compassion for yourself. When you're in those states, just realize we all get there. And it's normal to feel stuck from time to time, but you can come out of it, and having a community around you. That's why Elixir is, also has this community aspect of it, because it's so important to have a community around you that's cheering you on, that's saying, hey, you've got this, it's okay. We're here to support you and to take care of you, and to, help you feel cared for and accepted and loved. So find your community, people that will do that. And just as much as you can, take action. One of my teachers, Yogi Bhajan, I was actually thinking about him this morning, and this particular statement that he would say. which was, when the pressure is on, start. As simple as that. When you feel stuck, just move. Just do something. So often we feel overwhelmed with, okay, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I get out of this situation that I'm in? Just do something. And just that momentum will give you the strength to start to move forward and get out of this place. But as much as you can, without judgment, just loving yourself and caring for yourself, taking the time you need to heal, to process. I'm a huge fan of having coaches in my life personally. They've gotten me to where I am. I have coaches that are there saying, okay, let's do this. Let's go from here to here, and helping me get out of those places.
That's brilliant. I see myself when I'm speaking to my audio coaching clients, I see myself as a motivator, an accountability partner. And sometimes I describe it as, if you are in a dark, bleak tunnel, which feels really scary, the only way to get out into the light of happiness is to move forward. If you are standing still, if you are sitting down with your hands over your eyes, you can't get out of that dark, bleak tunnel. You've got to keep moving forward as best you can. And it's great to have somebody like yourself, Sarah, really promoting that positivity and promoting we've got to start. When things get tough, we've got to take that step forward. And it's really, really great to hear you kind of echo that. Do you have anything that you would like to speak about, Sarah, that maybe we haven't touched on yet? Is there anything that you would like to tell our audience?
Yeah, when it comes to breakups, I always really want to honor where people are at with that, and the huge impact that breakups take on us, and the toll that they take. If you look at the history of humanity and our need for community and that need for our tribe, and that's where our sense of belonging and our need for acceptance comes from, is that tribal aspect of us. And so when we're in a relationship with somebody, that person becomes our tribe in a modern sense of the word. And when a breakup happens, the brain literally thinks that we might die because we don't have our tribe there to support and protect us anymore. And when we were people, in these tribal societies, we had to have the tribe or we would die. So that part of our brain still registers that, okay, I'm no longer with my tribe, I may die. So there's a huge fear there. Obviously, as modern people, we know that's not the truth, and we can understand that, and we can rationalize that, but that fear can still be there. And so I think just having that understanding of why breakups feel so bad, it's because it comes from the deep tribal aspects of us. And just honor that part of yourself, right? Like, hey, I get that I'm going through this, and this is really painful, and have compassion and love yourself the way you would love your cat or your dog through this process, and like hold yourself in that love. And also, like you said, take one step to move forward, whatever that step is. Maybe that step is to go sit in nature. Maybe that step is to go out with some friends. Maybe you want to get back on a dating app and just kind of check it out and feel that hope again. Sometimes all we need is just a little bit of hope, a little bit of excitement, and then that can help us move forward.
That is brilliant. And thank you so much, Sarah, for not just those great words then, but everything you've spoke about today. It's been a pleasure having you with us on today's podcast. But before I let you go, I just wondered, is there any social media or websites or anything you would like to mention where people can connect with you? Obviously, they'll also be in the description. So if you're listening, please just click into the description and you will find anything that Sarah wants to talk about right now. But is there anything you just wanted to to say, Sarah, regarding, I don't know, social media or websites or anything like that?
Yes, so Elixir is ELIXR, so it's only one I in Elixir, ELIXR, and our website is elixir.love. We are elixir.love on Instagram and on TikTok, and then you can find Elixir Love in the App Store and on the Play Store.
That's brilliant. And I think everybody listening should check it out. It does sound like everything under one roof, as I described earlier. Like I said a moment ago, Sarah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today's podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.